I was actually drafted into the military and was sent to Vietnam in July 1968 to July 1969. During my time in Vietnam, I was a forward observer for light artillery and mortars, which meant I went with the ground troops, and whenever supporting fire was needed, I would call it in and direct the fire right in onto the enemy. And sometimes it was directed into civilian areas. And what really bothered me the most was the children. I felt very bad about what I did during the war, and I wanted to somehow, I felt like I had to give back to Vietnam something that I stole from them when I was there, and I wasn't sure what it was. I was hired by a group of farmers from Lancaster County to go over and see if I could do some milk trade. And so I took my wife with me for the first time, and she was quite impressed with Vietnam, and we decided to do an adoption from there. And because we were successful, the agency that we used for our home study from Philadelphia asked us if we would start a program for them, which we did. And we continued with that for the next 11 years. And over those 11 years, we successfully completed over 400 adoptions. We got out of the adoption business and decided to do what was really in our heart, and that was to start a children's charity. And with a group of our friends who we had helped to adopt children in Vietnam, they suggested that we start this charity, and they decided to help us. And so we started Paul's Kids. Paul's Kids has been very successful since then. We started out by doing scholarships for children to go to school in very poor villages. We also built a big soccer field in that village. We are sponsoring a handicapped shelter in that village also. We were just there 2 weeks ago and gave 13 wheelchairs to the handicapped shelter. In Ho Chi Minh City, we're doing open heart surgeries for children who can't afford it. Our main goal is to help the children of Vietnam, children who will not likely be adopted, so we focus mainly in the orphanages. We put in a physical therapy room, which was our very first project in Govop Orphanage. There's about 200 children live there, and 90% of them are handicapped in one way or another. So we put this physical therapy room in so they have a safe place to do exercise and to play and to get some physical therapy. When we built the one in Govop Orphanage, it was the second one in Vietnam to be. There is no such thing there because they can't afford to make the rooms. We found another orphanage in Bien Hoa, which is an hour's drive from Ho Chi Minh City. That's a very poor area. Very few adoptions take place there, and 99.9% of the children there are very physically handicapped or mentally handicapped, and they will never go anywhere. They'll stay right where they are. And so we put a physical therapy room in that orphanage also. But there's been a lot of requests for more physical therapy rooms throughout Vietnam because these orphanages, the orphanage directors and orphanage personnel know of other orphanages, and I think we're talked about quite a bit because this is a really big deal to have this physical therapy room. And so we're getting requests all the time for more throughout Vietnam. If I had the money to do physical therapy rooms, I could put one in a week everywhere. I mean, it would be greatly appreciated and well used. We want to help the children of Vietnam with physical therapy rooms, with heart surgeries, with wheelchairs, with whatever they need to make life better than it is. If I could have gotten out of going to Vietnam in 1968, believe me, I would have done it. But I can't imagine now what my life would be like if I hadn't have gone there. Because my whole life has been directed towards Vietnam since then, and I'm very proud of what we do now. We're not only changing lives, we're saving lives in Vietnam.